there are certain hacks in life that make it easier for you to achieve your goal. For instance, here in New York City, if I wanted to have a hot dog stand, the number one thing I'd want to know is at what corner are hungry people at? Because if I have hungry people, I'll probably be able to sell hot dogs. Likewise, in the finance industry, there's a couple hacks, just really 2 or 3 that really make a difference. And if I had to choose the number one hack that makes a difference in finance and achieving your financial goals, it would be to know the rule of 72. And the rule of 72 makes it easy for you to think about your high-level goals and what it's going to take to achieve those. But more importantly, it's also going to help give you guidance and help you achieve those goals. So, and not get caught down in the details. So what is the rule of 72? The rule of 72 just says that if you take the interest rate, the compounding, the return that you get on an account, if you take that in the number of years, you multiply those together, that's going to equal 72 in order to double. So let me give you an example. If I got an 8% return, well, 72 divided by 8 is 9, so I know it's going to take me 9 years to double. And if I got, let's say that I got a 6% return, well, 72 divided by 6 is 12, so it's going to take me 12 years to double my money. Now, how does that help you? It helps you because so much of achieving our goals is not in the details and in the minutiae. Sometimes those are really important, and the closer you get to retiring, the closer those details are. But when we're still 10, 15, 20 years or more away from retiring, even 5 years away, that high level understanding can be super important. So let me give you an example. A common goal, I've been a financial advisor for over 20 years, and a common goal people say is, I'd like to have $1 million by the time I retire. Now, how hard is it to get there? Let me give you some examples here and where the rule of 72 can help us out. So let's say that you're saving $10,000 a year, which is a big number, right? $10,000 a year. The median person in the United States makes a little over $50,000 a year. So that's 20% of their total salary to save $10,000 a year. But let's just stick with this. $10,000 a year, and we're starting with 0. So if we save that $10,000 a year and we get a 7% interest rate on that, now how long is it going to take that to double? Right? It's going to take a little over 10 years, right? Because 72 divided by 7 is a little over 10. So it's going to take us a little over 10 years, but let's actually look at the math. So we're saving $10,000 a year, we're starting with nothing, and we're getting a 7% return on it. Now, importantly, I'm not saying we're getting a 7% return on this in the bank. Unfortunately, in today's world, there's no way to get a 7% risk-free return on your investment. If you know of that, let me know what it is. But risk-free return is what treasuries give us, and risk-free there is we know we're going to get our money back, but let's call it a 2-year treasury. Because if you have a treasury that's going to mature in 10 years or 30 years, boy, that can be volatile. We know we're going to get our money back, but what happens if interest rates rise and all of a sudden people don't want the 10-year treasury that we have yielding 4%, right? Let's say all of a sudden the rates go to 6%. Well, nobody wants our 4% treasury. We can still sell it, but we're going to get less than that. So it can be volatile. It's called duration risk. But let's stick with our example. We're saving $10,000 a year. We're getting 7% on that. That's going to be a mix of stocks and bonds. So how long is it going to take us to get to 100,000? It's not going to take 10 years, right? Because 10 times 10,000 is 100,000, but we're getting that 7% a year return. So it's actually going to take us to year 8 to get to that. So in year 8, we have $100,000, and roughly double that. In 15 years, we're going to have $250,000. And then in year 22, we're going to have 500,000. And then almost in year 30 is when we're going to have $1 million. So 30 years to save $1 million. And most of my viewers don't have 30 years to save. So let's say instead of saving $10,000 a year, we save $20,000 a year. Now, most people would say, well, you know, if at $10,000 I got there in 30 years, I should be able to get there in 15 years. But you know what? You're going to be surprised that's not how it works. You can look at this chart here, but after 8 years, yes, we have 200,000 instead of 100,000. After 15 years, instead of 250,000, we have 500,000. But at 22 years, instead of 500,000, we have $1 million. So yes, it does double how much we have, but we need to look at where was $500,000 when we're, how long did it take us to save $500,000 at $10,000 a year? And then at $20,000 a year, it'll be double that, so we'll have $1 million. So it still takes 22 years. So where does this time value of money, where does this rule of 72 come in? Where it really comes in is when we're looking at time, and time being on our side. And I want to illustrate this. Let's say we started when we were younger, and instead of starting at 0, now we're starting at $250,000. So let's say we started saving our money when we were in our 20s, or you know, we were 25 or 30 when we saved our first $250,000. And that's one of the keys to reaching our financial goals, is to get to that first. Charlie Munger, who is Warren Buffett's business partner, used to say the challenge is getting to that first $100,000. But 30 years ago that he said that. I think in today's world, the challenge is getting to that first $250,000. So how do things change if we have 250,000? If we start with 250,000 because maybe we started saving when we were 18 or 20 or 25 years old, and we save that same $10,000 a year, now all of a sudden by year 8, instead of just having 100,000, if we started with 250, that money is working for us. Plus, we're saving $10,000 a year. So guess what? At year 8, we have $500,000. And then by year 15, we have $1 million, really irregardless of whether we save that $10,000 a year. Because once we have that first $250,000 working for us, our money is working harder for us, and it becomes less important how much money we're saving every year. So getting to that first $250,000 is so important. If you like this video, I know you're going to like the deeper dive that I did on retirement income and what the average American has in retirement income when they retire. I'll see you in that video. Thanks for watching this one. Bye-bye.